Hi, and welcome to this video on Blob Storage in AL. Hey, my name is Eric, and this video is going to be about blobs. And what is blobs? Well, a blob. Well, maybe we should start with just a small history lesson. Why not? So nowadays we know that a blob is a binary large object, meaning a chunk of memory. Actually invented by a guy called Jim Starkey at DEC, also the guy who invented the interbase. And he named it after, let me show you, I actually found a photo that's pretty cool. Let's see where we got that here, it's right there. He named it after a 1958 Steve McQueen movie, The Blob. And then later on it was a basic large object at an Apollo computer, and finally turned into the binary large object. So basically compared to all the other field types that we have in data types that we have in Business Central, the blob has a variable length, so it can store anything. It can store a photo like this. It can store JSON. It can store XML. It can store PDF. Anything. That's the binary part of it. The beauty of it. And we have had blobs for a long time in Nav and in Business Central. And at some point in time, people figured out they needed to do manipulations. So we started using, grabbing the item table that had a blob field for the photo, and created a temporary version of that, or somebody else took the customer table, and that kind of turned into a pattern, and Microsoft helped the pattern along by creating the temp blob table, and that hasn't evolved now into the Blob Storage code unit, and I thought we would do a bit about that one. So if you haven't visited this website, it's actually pretty cool. It's called GitHub now. Just kidding. Part of Business Central is on GitHub. The source code is sitting there, and it's the source code to the system application app. And the one that I'm interested in right now is called the Blob Story. So you can see that this app has support for tons of stuff, from very exciting stuff like OAuth and password management and printers and math to data classification and confirm management, all sorts of stuff that's not ERP related. You could use these building blocks to build any kind of application. So that's the idea of the of this app, is that's like the application foundation. That's the stuff you need to make a modern app. And one of the things in here is the Blob Storage. And the Blob Storage, most users have seen or heard about temp blob. It used to be a table, now it's a code unit. And actually, let's just take a quick look at it, how it works. This is good old Visual Studio Code, and I've just created a simple table with a primary key and a blob to make it really simple. I could have gone media, but that requires more code, and a page to show that. So in this case, we have a blob field, and it actually, the UI will give you a great way of importing a value to it. But let's pretend that we cannot do that. So we'll create our own import function here, just to play around with the temp blob. And let's give it a caption. course we need a caption and application area because we always need that, and let's promote it, and promoted category is process, and process is big, and oops, wow, and promoted only, true, so we'll just have it as a menu item on top. Still funny with the inconsistency that the area is called processing, but when you need to promote it, it's called process, but hey. So trigger on action. So let's create an upload. So we need to upload and we get into Stream. So as soon as you work with blobs, unless it's very text-based, and still in that case you still need streams. So streams are your friend. Let's just create a couple of them so we have them available: an in-stream and an Outstream. And I know that when using the upload function, I do need a file name variable. And the parameters, so upload into Stream will take a file on your client, on the PC that runs the computer that runs the browser, and upload that so we have access to it in Business Central. Select file, and so the strange thing about upload into Stream and download into Stream, download from Stream, is that they take more parameters than are needed, because those are leftovers from the Windows client, and we never got, there's no overload, so we need to fill out some blanks here. So the from folder has nothing to do, from folder to do. File name, we need that, and then we need an in-stream. We can make this nice by saying that if this happens, then we want to do something. So at this point, what happens is that there's a secret blob in Business Central that holds the uploaded stream when upload into Stream returns true. So at this point, it just we need to give it an in-stream that it can attach to that blob. And this, the in and out, so if you were a subscriber, you would have seen the InOut read write confusing directions video, but how about you subscribe now and then find that video later, because that's actually a good one to figure out why something is in and what something is out, and it's confusing. But let's continue here. So now we have an in-stream, and so since this is about blobs, let's I have created down here a temp blob variable. So let's use that. So I can do temp blob, and then I want to create an Outstream because I want to write into the blob. So I create that one. So now we have two blobs here, and we have a pipe between them. And the image I used in the other video was a pump. So now we need a pump to actually move the data from one to the other. And one pump that exists is called copy stream. So we want to copy to the Outstream from the in-stream. This order, I always kind of think it like this. So Outstream is equal in-stream, like an sort of an assignment, but just how I remember it. So at this point, we have whatever we uploaded in the temp blob. And then I'm gonna do something that then all you can come say, but you don't need to do that, but I do it anyway because, oops, sorry. Calc fields. Whenever I need to access a blob, you need to calculate it at some point. And I always forget when it's the best time, so I just do it right away. So now we need to put something into our blob. So we have the table with a blob on the screen. And that's really the only way you can, right now you can just show a blob, because there's not really a variable type called blob that you could add onto a page. So I'll go blob, and then I need to create an Outstream, because at this point I need to put something into the blob. So I'll just reuse my variable now. That's not a good pattern, but stay with me. And then I need to get, because we put the data with CopyStream, we put the data into temp blob. So whatever we have is sitting in temp blob. So now we need to create an InStream to get the data out of the temp blob. And we can use our pump again, the copy stream. So this time, not copy string, copy stream, and we use the exact same thing. Of course, we could have just created this one and connected it to that one, and then we'll be done. But that's not the exercise we're doing here. The exercise is that we're actually thinking that at this point, the universe does something different. So at this point, we simply hold whatever we uploaded in memory, and that's when we. So let's try it out. Let's compile, deploy, see what happens. I need to log in, but that's not a big surprise. And here we are. This is great. We'll do number 10. And you see, because I added a blob, I actually get this nice thing, but we'll not use that. We will use our own special function. Select the file, choose, and let's find, I think I got something in here, picture of some corals, and there we have it. So we went over the stream, no pun intended, but we went into the temp blob, and then we went from the temp blob into the blob field in the table. So that's how you can use the temp blob. If I quickly go and open, I can actually, let me do this, and then I find if you remember the email, HTML email video, we had a different pattern, but in reality it was the exact same pattern. We had a report that we saved to an Outstream, and the Outstream we got from you guessed it, a temp blob. And then, because we needed to create a mail, we created an InStream on the temp blob. So we read out in this case, we formatted an email as HTML, and then we read that out to a text field. So the temp blob was used in the exact same fashion. It was holding some data, and then we processed it again. So that's the first part. So the second part of this guy was actually the first part. That's the order they created it. That's a persistent blob. And what is a persistent blob? A persistent blob. So I kind of, the way Microsoft described it is, well, it's true, but it's also perhaps slightly misleading. The interface for storing blob data between sessions. And what does between session means? Is that persistent memory on the server? So when you log in again, it's still there until you restart the server, or no? Actually, see what we can do, because we have the source. So let's go in and look at persistent memory. So we have a create, exist, delete, copy from InStream, copy to Outstream. So they try to make sense of these confusing directions, but it's clearly using a record called persistent blob. So let's find that. And persistent blob is just a table. See if is this hard to see? Let's make it easier. There we go. So in reality, go back to this one. Oh, now it's way too big. Sorry. It's more of a key blob storage in the database. So it's not between sessions, it's forever. It's in the database. And you create it, and then you get an ID back. So we can try this. Let's create a copy of our function here. So import into persistent. So in this case, I created a variable for persistence also. So we will do persistent dot create. So we need a big int for p number. That's a big integer. So p number equals persistent create. And then we can do persistent dot. So copy from in. So this is the other type. So now we don't need to use copy stream. So this is a pipe with a built-in pump. So we can just say copy from InStream. And that's it. So at this point, let's see why it does not hate me. Sorry. We need, let's actually read this. So we need the number again. So now we got it into persistent. And let's see why. So let's just get rid of all this. P number equal this one. Let's see how that goes. Let me hit a 5 for compile instead of some other key. So we will do the same file. This is number 1. How about that? So that's now stored somewhere. So let's see if we can do something else. So let's create another action now. Let's create another action from persistent. And I'll just grab these because I am lazy. On action. And let's now see persistent copy to Outstream. So how about we do this? So we create an Outstream here, and then we do calc rec.calc fields blob. Wow, this is late here in British Columbia. I'm not able to type. And then we're gonna do rec.blob.create Outstream, our Outstream variable, and we're going to copy to that one. And we need to tell which one, what number it is, I guess, is my guess. So we know this is number 1 because, hey, we saw that. So let's see how that goes. So I'm gonna create a new record here, and then I'm saying from persistent. Let's create something that's not number 10 because I guess we did that one. Number 11. So now we got the photo of the corals from our persistent blob, meaning that this was between compiles and deployment, so it was clearly sitting in the database. One thing to note about persistent blobs is that they do not possess the same features as the isolated storage, even though it's kind of also a key value type of storage. This one has no protection, so any app can grab any persistent blob just by guessing the number. So there's no protection. You should not use this to store secrets. If you want to store secrets, check out the video on isolated storage. Anyway, that's persistent blob. So let's go back and check the last one. I'm just checking the time here. So the last one, oh, that's a lot of documentation. It's pretty cool. Actually, while I'm browsing through the functions on the temp blob, there are some cool functions. These are 2 of them, from record ref method and to record ref. So there is no blob ref functionality, but that's not a data type. But you can assign the value of a blob through on a record ref, and that's kind of encapsulated into the temp blob. So in case where you need to fill out or from a ref, you need to get the blob value. You can actually do it to temp blob. So you create a temp blob and then you use the from your record ref to get the data into temp blob, and you can do with it whatever you need. That's the way it's done internally in the configuration packages. Anyway, let's just scroll down to the last one. So that's temp blob list. So if let's go back to in this case, I just created some global variables. If I needed 2 temp blobs, I could do a temp blob 2. Wow. Code unit temp blob, and now I have 2 different ones. But if I need something that's closer to an array of binary data, I would actually use the temp blob list, which is this one. And it works more or less the same, because what you're getting is basically just an array of temp blobs. So you can get a temp blob and you can set a temp blob. But it's a nice way if you have a list of something. If you're working with the media types, media set type, this could be one option to process some of that. Sorry. Oh, it's getting late. I'm not gonna do any demos on this one, because it's basically just a list of blobs. But temp-blob, that's a code unit I find myself using all the time. Whenever I need to process anything that's not like a regular field value, temp-blob is very convenient. If you have a report and you need to send a report to a web server or put binary data into a API call, quite often you end up in that you need to hold the data for a bit, and that's temp-blob. If you come from the C# world, if you come from .NET, temp-blob is basically the same as a memory stream. Same use cases, same functionality. This is just a language instead. Anyway, I think that concludes the story on temp-blobs. If you like videos like this, where I try to go through some of the internal code units and show you what they can do, subscribe to the channel. I'll do way more of these to help people get to know all the vast functionality that's actually in the system. And if you think I did this all wrong, let me know down in comments, or if you like it, let me also know in the comments. I read all of them. And until next time, have a wonderful day.